Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Artsy Autismmom Chronicles. Today's video is going to be a Black History Month spotlight on the African or Black origins of country music. But before we get into that, I'm going to give you the intro and I'll be back right after that. The African origins of country music. Country music, often associated with rural America and white artists, has deep-seated roots in African American culture. The genre's history intertwines with the experiences, contributions, and influences of African Americans whose musical traditions laid the foundation for what we now recognize as country music. The origins of country music can be traced back to the rural South, where African American communities played a significant role in shaping the musical landscape. Before the genre was formally recognized, African Americans in the southern United States were creating music that reflected their daily lives, struggles, and joys. These early forms of music, including spirituals, work songs, and blues, laid the groundwork for what would later become country music. If you picture a stereotypical country music band, you might call to mind a crew of musicians playing the banjo, a mandolin, the fiddle, maybe the harmonica, perhaps a pedal steel guitar, and someone on mic with a twangy southern accent. While the specifics of your band may vary here or there, whether you realize it or not, your imaginary band is most likely white. It is incontestable that the country music space is a white space. The vast majority of top charting country singers now and throughout history are and have been white. The vast majority of top charting country singers now and throughout history are and have been white. Even for those who have a limited knowledge of country music, artists like Johnny Cash, Tim McGraw, and Carrie Underwood still come to the public mind, their commonality being whiteness. Of the 146 members of the Country Music Hall of Fame, only 3 African Americans have ever been inducted. The first being Charlie Pride in 2000. It has been little uproar about this fact. Most people have happily, perhaps unconsciously, digested the idea that country music was for white people. As consumers of the music industry in America, we let them have it. When our African ancestors were violently uprooted from their homelands and enslaved by white colonizers, they saturated America with their slang and languages, their native plants, fruits, and vegetables, as well as traditional African dishes, their rural ways, and their music. It took over 400 years of the Middle Passage, work songs, field hollers, shouts, chants, arhulis, spirituals, bloodshed, and sorrow to create blues music. There is no question that this genre, with African musical traditions like call and response and the bluing of a note in its essence, is the DNA of American music. Without blues, there would be no rock and roll or any of its derivatives like punk, and there would probably be no country or bluegrass. Elements of African American music traditions such as call and response, vocals, intricate rhythms, and storytelling lyrics heavily influenced the development of country music. Artists like Charlie Patton, often considered the father of the Delta blues, incorporated these elements into their music, which would later be embraced by country musicians. The banjo, a key instrument in country music, came from Africa. Originating from West Africa, the banjo was brought to America by enslaved Africans. It quickly became an integral part of Appalachian and Southern musical traditions, eventually becoming synonymous with country music. Artists like Earl Scruggs revolutionized banjo playing, popularizing the instrument and shaping the sound of country music for generations to come. Like bluegrass music and all of its sonic offshoots that continue to flourish from its blood-soaked roots, the banjo is uniquely African American. Originating in Africa, the banjo, also called banjar, banji, banjer, or banza, was created in the early 17th century by African captives and brought to America through the West Indies. The instrument is a descendant of West African lutes made from gourds that were brought to Americas by slaves, which became a central part of slave music and culture in the South. Soon the instrument was standardized, appropriated, and spread to white audiences through minstrel and blackface shows, which deeply informed the rise of hillbilly music, a term that would later be rebranded as country music. The blackface performer Emmett Miller's Lovesick Blues, for example, inspired Hank Williams' own rendition of the song, which is still one of the most beloved songs in country history. White banjo innovators later made the instrument integral for the genre's DNA, and black musicians mostly abandoned the instrument. The banjo grew in stature worldwide thanks to minstrel shows in the 19th century that stemmed from medicine shows, traveling theaters and circuses, music halls, Irish music and dance, and African simplification. Once phonographs came along in the early 20th century and segregated sounds, creating categories along racial lines to market and sell music, the long-standing traditions that had blurred those lines were virtually discarded. Country grew from a need to appease a Southern audience that had idealized the great cause in the wake of the Civil War. During the Great Migration North, many black folks left the banjo, country music, and so many other African traditions in the South for a new life elsewhere. Yet our influence in country and bluegrass remains substantial in the fundamental ways, most notably as a guiding force behind its brightest luminaries. Black musicians taught country music's legends how to play. T-Top Payne, a guitarist and street performer from Louisiana, was the only teacher and mentor of the legendary Hank Williams, teaching him passing chords and how to write songs. Musician Leslie Riddle befriended the Carter family, found and transcribed Negro spirituals for them, and gave them guitar lessons, thus establishing the bedrock of country music. Fiddler and guitarist Arnold Schultz, the son of a former slave from a family of musicians and performers, played a pivotal role in the life of Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass. He gave him his first gig, introduced him to the blues, and taught him a Kentucky thumb-style guitar technique that would make musicians Chet Atkins famous. Bill Monroe says that Arnold Schultz was his best friend and always spoke of him fondly. Despite facing significant challenges and discrimination, African American artists played a crucial role in shaping the early years of country music. Pioneers like DeFroyd Bailey, the first African American to perform at the Grand Ole Opry, and Charlie Pride, who became the first African American member of the Grand Ole Opry, broke down barriers and paved the way for future generations of artists. Most recently, Mississippi trio Chapel Hart got to play at the Grand Ole Opry and has been recognized as emerging new artists on the country scene. With the recent quote-unquote crossover of Beyonce with her debuting at #1 Texas Hold'em on the Billboard Country charts, many have forgotten the African American roots of country. But Beyonce is a Texas girl, and one thing that Texas is known for is its barbecue, its love of cowboys and wearing cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and country music. And Beyonce is a Texas girl through and through. Hence, Texas Hold'em, 16 carriages, and daddy lessons. The influence of African American musical traditions continues to be felt in contemporary country music. Artists like Darius Rucker, Mickey Guyton, and Kane Brown have achieved commercial success while embracing their African American roots. The history of American country music is incomplete without acknowledging the significant contributions of African American musicians, whose creativity, talent, and resilience have shaped the genre into what it is today. I hope this has been interesting and helpful to you guys. I will leave additional information in regards to this subject down in the description of this video. Please follow me on all my other social media, including TikTok, Instagram, and my other page where I do spoken word, The Purple Diva Den. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, peace and blessings.